Welcome to the Fun Astrology Podcast for August 13th. We are moving around. We've only got a few more to go. Today we are focusing on Capricorn rising. Kristin, how does it feel to be out of Mercury retrograde?
Capricorn. Oh gosh, Mercury retrograde. I was so ready to be over. I mean, we're not quite past shadow period, but it is great to at least have it direct.
Hopefully this means this, that we get off of this thing. And as we're talking about Capricorn rising, we have a perfect setup to be talking about Mercury retrograde, because look where the vortex point is in Mercury's third house. So I wonder for this person, so how's Mercury retrograde been for you anyway? It's like, wow. So Saturn and Neptune in the sky are right there. Boom. Pluto is over here, right almost on the ascendant. And then Uranus just ticking inside the fifth house. So those of you with Capricorn rising, you probably have somewhat of a similar structure. This is a 23 degree, fairly late into the sign, but this is about what you're looking at. Now we're moving over. We were in the fourth house the fourth house last week, third house this week. We still have Aquarius and Pisces to go. So we're going to bring it all the way around. So once you have those points identified, you know what to do from here, right? Basically look from the vortex point and see if you have anything. And really we do have one actually right here. We have a trine to the north node. We don't have anything directly opposite, and we have not that yet a square yet. It will be eventually when this shifts over some. So let's just focus here on this trine. We don't have anything across, but obviously the other thing that we have is that Uranus is pretty much across from that north node. So, Kristin, this does bring up an interesting conversation that we haven't had before, and that is that we are talking about the nodes and the nodal axis related to the pyramid.
Yeah, this is a shakeup of your direction. I think having Uranus on the south node and really activating it from so many different points and aspects, that they're kind of at the turning point in life, in which direction they kind of want to take, especially with some of the building aspects that are coming, the Saturn square as well as the Pluto eventually being activated in that formation. This is kind of that point that decisions are being made for later.
We've been focusing on the thrust of the vortex being the transformation that is being triggered by Pluto. And interesting that Pluto is so close, 7 degrees apart from this ascendant. I'm going with 0, but 1, 7, 8 degrees right now. Of course, still moving backwards. So it's approaching back here but this person's whole persona, their whole projection out into the world, the whole identity of the self is going to come under transformation, as you say. And then I think one of the things that you could wonder if you were listening to this with this chart is positively or negatively. Well, we saw a couple of weeks ago, we saw that tsunami shake things in the ocean. And for first time in a long time, the earth shook like it hasn't before. That's the nature of what's going on now. No real surprise under this energy. But like we've been saying in this series, the shakeups are for the positive. So we don't have, it was just at least what we're talking about here, we don't have any negative aspects. We have a trine here. We have, I don't know, an opposition, but the nodes are always in opposition. Uranus sitting right on the south node, and the pyramid itself being positive. So, Kristin, this is like almost a good luck charm for this person, I would think.
I would say too, I think, and you're right, having Pluto in the first house, they've already been working through so much transformation of the self and the identity that goes with it. Now having Pluto in Aquarius does give that second house tone to that identity transformation and the values that go with it. But the vortex point is now, how are you communicating those transformations and really building stability around that? I think that over the next few years, it's really going to be looking at your mind and how you create the ways to show other people how the cogs are working inside.
That's a great connection to what's just happened with Mercury retrograde, because this person could look at what happened during Mercury retrograde. How did it manifest? How did it relate to Neptunian things? So let's go both sides, the spirituality on one side, the shadow side of confusion or even lying and deception, the connection to the home office. Were you more connected to the home office? Saturnian kinds of things, where there's some obstacles that came your way that might have redirected you in a positive way, like we have been with this whole website thing. That was a Saturnian redirection. You just look at that and slide off of it and say, okay, let's work with the energy. Where are we going? And however Mercury showed up for you during this last 3 weeks of the retrograde and the couple of weeks before that in the shadow, you could kind of pattern what Kristin was just talking about, of projecting that out, of both the challenges and the good things that happened.
Yeah, this person natally has the moon and Mercury conjunct in Gemini. They tend to be just natural speakers anyway, but sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to make sure that your message is being heard and received in the way that you want it to.
That's good. That's really good. One other thing that just see, this is where you look at your natal planets. Kristin pointed this out.
Yeah, you have Jupiter like conjunct your Saturn, I would say very close to when this is being released. And having that is just a touch of luck in this time, too, that it does show that the things that you're working through will be left with great benefics and,
Yeah.
all the blessings.
I love wrapping this up. And by the way, I just have to say, this is not a natal chart reading, but this person does have a yod. And I always like to point them out because that is things that need to be examined. You'll have to take a look at that on your own, but there are some destinies in here as well, some fated things
Mhm.
going back to your whole life. This is, I think, a positive shift for this person in very good ways.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that they should be looking forward to the rest of the Great Pyramid and how it's going to activate that Pluto and transform them even more.
Once you discover transformation, then you can say, bring it on. I'm ready. It's like, let's transform, let's grow, let's get on our highest timeline. This is what we're here for. Remember, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are, Kristin.
Spiritual beings having a human experience.
Bingo, exactly. And in that context, when we embrace transformation that's happening, destined in our lives, it's a wonderful journey. And we look back and we go, thank you even for the dark days, because I'm so much better now. And that's the promise of the Great Pyramid. Thank you so much for watching. Kristin will be back with us tomorrow, and we'll see you next week for the next to the last sign. We'll be in Aquarius, and I imagine we'll be talking about Pluto a little bit. We'll see you then.